This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 633 of the Dressage Radio Show, official podcast of the United States Dressage Federation on the Horse Radio Network, brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products and Total Saddle Fit. We are very pleased to bring you U.S. team rider Nick Wagman, and then champion junior rider sisters Lexi and Kylee Kment. After that, we're going to interview their mom about coaching her daughters, and then Nick agreed to stick around to give us a great trainer tip.
This is Reese Koffler-Stanfield from Georgetown, Kentucky.
And this is Philip Parks from Rockwood, Ontario, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show.
Hi, Phil.
Hey, Reese. It's been a while.
I know, it has been a while. It seems like a really long time, actually.
Well, yeah, we recorded an episode early in a week, and then we have that week off, and then here we are later, and so it's like, I don't know, more than 2 weeks almost.
I know, but I've talked to you a lot. But it's
do a lot of messaging. Yeah,
I've been a lot of messaging because of the Festival of Champions last week, and it was a hot week. I am not gonna lie. I don't think I've been that hot in a very long time.
And like we've talked about before, they force you to wear a full-on jacket, and and the whole.
And it was 105 degrees.
Yeah,
it was really hot.
Cool. That's for sure.
It was really hot. They finally took pity on the Grand Prix horses and moved us up on Sunday to 8:00, which was like a mercy throw. It was appreciated for sure.
So, were you having fun in the heat?
You know what? If you ever get a chance to go to the U.S. Festival of Champions, and I'm not sure, Phil, if this happens in Canada, but it is an amazing horse show because you literally have ponies to Grand Prix in one ring on all the high performance things in the one ring. And you have the young riders and the Brentina Cup and the small tour and the Grand Prix. And then in the other ring is the young horse classes. So you have 4 years old to developing Grand Prix horses and the commentary that goes along with the young horses. And it's just a beautiful venue because there's a walkway in between and you can sit and watch each side and literally turn your chair one direction or the other. And we just really enjoyed the ponies. We had some great ponies in our aisleway in the tent, which was fun. It was fun to keep track of them. I've got a shout out to Marsha, Ruby, and Zoe. They're listeners to the show, and they had a pony Pickles there. And so it was fun to hang out. Yes, it was so fun to hang out with Pickles and the girls all week. That was really fun. So you literally had everybody sort of mishmashed together, and it was a really special horse show. I will always remember it for sure, and also because of the heat.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. We don't have anything like that in Canada, just because of the great distances people would have to travel. So we kind of do some East Coast, Central, and West Coast championship stuff, and that's good. But yeah, it sounds like a great show. I mean, I might have driven down to see you in Chicago if it wasn't the closed border situation. So
yeah, COVID. I know. I would have loved to have you. And it was a long week for my horse. Bingo, I've had him just over a year, and it was a really long week. It's funny because you don't think of the things that sometimes with a new horse, I feel in my head that I've done all the new things with him, but one of the things I've never done was shipped him with another horse. And that really rocked him a little bit. And it kind of rocked me too, because I didn't even think it would be a problem. So he expended a lot of energy in the beginning of the week, screaming for his friend who didn't care what he was doing. But Big Mike was like the social director of the tent. He hung out with his neighbor. He would greet everyone coming in and out. So that was really cute. But it's one of those things that I didn't know. And also the heat really got to him. He's never had heat like that probably in his life. And we had to do the Grand Prix and the Grand Prix special back to back. And I was pretty happy with my Grand Prix. And then for the Grand Prix special, he just faded, and I had no horse. And that was, always disappointing. But like I said, I learned a lot about him, and I learned a lot about, just showing him and the environment. And he learned he could be away from his friend, which was, stressful. His friend didn't care, but it was good that way. And that is still part of kind of getting to know a horse. And so it was an educational week. It was really, really fun to be there, and to just be a part of that was really cool. So it was a good time. I'm not going to lie, it cooled off a little bit here. And then we've been full tilt because we came back, and the American Eventing Championships are going on this week in Kentucky. So cheers to all our listeners that are competing or knew someone here. It is, goodness, today they've been running 5 rings of dressage since Tuesday, and we're recording on Thursday. So they will have run 5 rings full time of dressage Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 days. So there's some enormous classes. So I wish
that's a national championships as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh.
2 national championships back to back. So it's been pretty wild, but it's all good. So it's fun to kind of get back in routine with you guys and to be back here.
How are things with the weather, with the remnants of the hurricane coming through? I've seen some pictures from across the country. What's going on with that in Kentucky?
So we got a lot of rain on Tuesday, and mostly Tuesday. Well, actually, we had really bad storms Monday too. So Monday, Tuesday was when we really got the remnants. So it's absolutely beautiful today. It's 70 degrees and sunny and gorgeous. Tuesday, it was a little rough, I'm not going to lie. And to all the volunteers that were out there, thank you guys for all that you do, because it's definitely tricky.
Okay. And then the other thing I was going to ask you is what's going on with regional? When is regionals? Do you have horses going? What's happening with that?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have regionals in October. I honestly haven't even gotten there yet. We have our Kentucky championships are next weekend. So we all go there, and we have a team, and our team name it's really called DRESSAGE. So Dr. Catherine, who's a listener of the show, and 2 other ladies, a fellow trainer and me, are on a team. So that should be really fun. So we have that next week. Then we'll take a little bit of a break from showing, and our regionals are in October, and they're actually here at the horse park. So that
fantastic.
should be really fun. Yeah. So it's intense 3 weeks break, and then we'll be able to go and show again. So busy fall, it just got busy. It was like chill, and then whoa. So no, how about you guys? Do you guys do championships this year?
No, I mean the shows have been pretty well attended, I think, but a little bit spotty and stuff. So we will, like, our farm will kind of, and our team will kind of wrap up on the weekend of the 18th.
Okay.
Or maybe it's the 10th. So not this week, but next week. Yeah, next week I got to go show again. So
yeah.
So we're working on tests and whatever. We've been doing that for a couple of months. So I mean, and then that'll be it. And then we'll pack it up, and we'll prepare for next year, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We'll let them down, and we'll do some hacking and whatever. We'll stop practicing tests, and we'll work on some more training things. The horses doing 4th level will now kind of start getting introduced to doing more changes on the diagonal and a little bit tighter in the pirouettes and stuff over the winter, and see about how that goes, and then possibly be training for the I1. That means 2s and full pirouettes.
Yeah,
we'll see. No big ambitions until we see how it goes. That's basically after January. See how it's going, and then start to make some goals for 2022. So it seems crazy to be talking about that, but we're always looking forward, and we're always thinking, and that just helps us to guide the horses through a plan, and continue to reevaluate and continue to think what we can do. And that's about it. But by the time here we've done a couple of shows, then this last show is not as stressful. I just want to work on a couple of things and see where we're at. I mean, the horses have been really fantastic this year. So, I mean, we've achieved what we need to achieve. We just need to, the point of doing another show is just kind of get out there and get more experience and like enjoy showing, right? Like once the stress is out and, okay, we've been here, we've done this, whatever, then we actually can test the limits of our, extended canters and, all that, really feel comfortable and push the horse to see what kind of marks we can get and keep aiming higher, of course. And that's the plan.
I love it. I love it. Well, we have a great show for everybody. So we want to get the party started, and we really look forward to sharing with you all.
Founded in 1973, the United States Dressage Federation has become the largest organization to represent a single Olympic equestrian discipline. At nearly 30,000 members strong, USDF is your connection to dressage education, competition, and achievement. Visit USDF.org to learn more about USDF education, competition and award programs, and to shop our online store. Again, that's USDF.org, your online destination for dressage.
Well, tonight we are really honored to have Nick Wagman. He was the traveling alternate on the team that went to Tokyo for the silver medal. Nick, welcome to the show.
Hi there. Nice to be here.
Well, we're thrilled you're here. And tell us, what does it feel like now that you're back? I know it's got to be a huge event just to get back and get organized after the Olympic Games.
Yeah, we were basically gone for 2 months straight. So it's been a kind of a process getting back into my normal routine, but I am getting there and it feels great. And I can now actually think about what I just experienced, which was pretty remarkable.
No, I'm sure that you have a great team that sort of held down the fort at home with the horses and the riding, and just tell us a little bit about that.
That's for sure. None of this is possible without a whole team behind you. So I have an amazing assistant, Christine Unruh, who has really just risen to the occasion and has said, okay, you're going to be gone for 2 months. So I guess I just take over the program, and she has, and it's given me a peace of mind and the ability to go travel the world and follow my dreams. So between her and really understanding clients and amazing owners, all this is possible. It's not an easy undertaking, that's for sure.
No, it isn't. So Nick, tell us a little bit about your journey to the Olympics and a little bit about your partner, Don John.
I'd love to. Well, it all started, a year ago, and then COVID hit and things got postponed a year, which was kind of, I think, in everybody's advantage because it gave us a year more to prepare and be stronger and ready to be prepared for Tokyo. The interesting part about it was that the rules and the expectations kept changing because COVID kept changing, and we didn't know where we were going to be departing from, and we didn't know if we were going to be in Europe for a while. And so it was just a really nerve-wracking and exciting and kind of a fly-by-your-seat kind of event. But it all worked out, and Don John and I think really gained a lot of confidence and experience and trust because of the expectations that were put on all of us.
So Nick, tell us a little bit more about Don John. I saw you guys in Wellington and it was beautiful to watch. So tell us a little bit about him as well.
Don John is a 13-year-old Dutch gelding that I've had the pleasure of riding since he was 5. His owner, Beverly Gepfer, imported him with the intention of him becoming an Olympic horse. And sure enough, he's become that. He is truly become like a reliable competition horse. And from a 5-year-old that was hot and sensitive and spooky. And I've talked about it before that I've had a couple bad spills from him that, I have a metal plate in my arm and I broke my back on him. And not because he was malicious, he was just very girthy. And it's just amazing to see you go from that to we're heading to Tokyo and on the Olympic team. And it's a real testament to, I think, everybody involved, including myself, but also Don John, that horse that was so sensitive and hot and kind of leery of everybody has really learned to become a traveler and a competitor. It's pretty amazing.
So Nick, I got to go back to the injuries. I didn't know that about you guys. So tell us, I think some people have young horses that are really difficult. And how did you decide to kind of stick with him? If that makes sense, that question.
Oh, it absolutely does. And the first time, and both accidents happened under the exact same situation, just different venues. And the first one was about a week after we had imported him. And, I was getting on and my groom tightened the cinch right as I was getting on, and we learned a big mistake, and I went flying through the air, and that's when I had a compression fracture in my back, and I recovered from that, and of course you're like, okay, we can explain that, we know why that happened, we never do that again, and we have a routine where we don't tighten the girth obviously when I'm on him, and we walk him or lunge him or trot him before I get on, and it works beautifully. And then fast forward to probably 3 years later, I was getting ready to go into a CDI at Del Mar Nationals, and we must have just let our guard down. And I think the cinch was tightened again without anybody being aware. And sure enough, I went flying through the barn aisle and got hurt again. And that time was when my arm got broken. And it rattles you. And it took me a while to really put that fear behind me with a lot of hard work and perseverance. But the truth is, because Don John is one of the most talented horses I've ever had the pleasure of riding, and I'm absolutely in love with him, you make it work. And I also realized it had nothing to do with him trying to hurt me. He really was having a quick response to the girth, and we knew that, and it was just shame on us for not following protocol every single time I get on him, and that's what we do. And knock on wood, we don't have any problems.
So I want to ask you a little bit about, because you have been on the USDF traveling to Europe team. I don't know exactly what to call that, but how did that prepare you to compete in a major games?
Oh, it was a great preparation. It was the Nations Cup where I was selected to represent the United States in both France and Holland, and that was my first. Aside from I had done young riders many years ago, but that was my first time really being on a senior U.S. team and getting the feel of traveling with the team and having a coach and a chef to keep and it was really, really, really good preparation for me, for Jose, my groom, who travels with me everywhere, and for Don John. And then that being said, nothing really prepares you for the Olympics, because the Olympics just takes on a whole different cachet and a level of impressiveness, and I don't think anything was going to prepare me for what that was going to feel like. But the team aspect was really good to have had under my belt a couple times prior to Tokyo, for sure.
Wow. So Nick, tell us, what was it like to sort of go to Aachen and then travel to Tokyo? I mean, tell us all about, because that's the fun part, is the kind of the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. Well, we had our observation event in the beginning of June, and then we all four of us, Adrian, Sabine, Stefan, and myself, were in Wellington for that stretch of time before we went to Aachen. So we were ready to go. So by the time July 3rd hit, it had been a few weeks since the observation event. So we were anxious to get going, and we got to Aachen, and all of a sudden you start seeing all the other teams and the other famous riders, and all, you think, gosh, this is kind of like a mini Olympics in itself. And we got to watch everybody train and be around all the other, riders and see how they were preparing. And so I think we all kind of had this feeling like, gosh, we are basically doing the Olympics in Aachen. And then we got to Tokyo and realized, oh my gosh, it's still above and beyond anything we had anticipated. And it was really fun to see even, Adrian and Stefan, who had experienced the Olympics prior to this, even they still, were under the impression and under the spell of the Olympic a venue and stuff when we got there. So the Olympics are just a really cool thing. I don't know how else to describe it.
Did you pick up any tips or strategies as far as coping mentally with, possibly having to compete, maybe not? What was that situation like for your preparation?
I prepared as if I were going to compete. And I think I can only speak for the American riders, but we all had a pretty organized training schedule, and Debbie McDonald was very, clear about laying out when we were going to work the horses up towards peaking, and then making sure we gave them ample rest prior to and after the travel. So I was on schedule with everybody else, and was in that mindset of, you might have to compete. And I don't think you can do it any other way. You have to be ready to do it. And then on the flip side, you also have to know that there's a really good chance you won't compete because you are the reserve, and you have to be okay with that too, and just be super excited to be part of and supporting your nation's team.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I mean, that's it, the pressure. How do you mentally prepare for that kind of pressure?
That has been, I think, a lifelong journey. My show nerves have in the past been my biggest handicap. And I just think by pushing through and finding yourself in bigger situations where the pressure is more, you find ways of coping with it. So I have to say, going into the observation event, I was feeling pretty darn confident, and I even finished that observation event and said to my husband, "This is the first time I really can appreciate and be in the moment because I wasn't super nervous." And that was a big turning point for me. And so I kept that mindset going into Aachen and then Tokyo. And I have to say, being in such a structured environment like we were, it helped too, because I think we were constantly getting new information and thinking about and preparing for the travel. So there wasn't really a lot of time to dwell on the nerves. And I'm learning that that's a real, the more organized you are and the more strategy you have, the less worrisome things become when you actually get to the event. And I'm liking this discovery because I know I have more teams to ride on in the future.
And I think, personally for me, it just goes back to having a great team and, kind of delegating some responsibilities as far as, like the travel and, that you have peace of mind when you surround yourself with people that you trust and that won't let you down, and that you can give them some of the responsibility. For me, that's personally really, really good.
100%, absolutely, and it's on all levels. It's because they're horses, and things do go wrong, and shoes fall off, and events. Even the littlest thing can throw you for a loop. And if you have everybody in place that can hold their own and take care of that specific issue, it gives a lot of peace of mind, so that the rider can focus on his task, which is to think about their ride and their horse and how they're going to best prepare for that competition.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what happens now, Nick? You're home, and what happens post-Olympics?
So I'm home, and Don John is home, and he injured himself lightly in Tokyo, and so he's home and recovering, and the prognosis is really good. And he's standing out in this corral looking at me ride the other horses, like, wait a minute, when it's my turn. So that's certainly my biggest goal is with him. And preparing for either the World Championships, and then certainly, looking towards another Olympic team on him. He's young enough and fit enough. I think we got one more with him. But in the in between time, I have two other really special horses coming up. One is Ferrano, who I was shortlisted with, and it was kind of premature for him to be at that moment in his career, but he did it, and he's going better than ever. So I'm really excited to continue my journey in the Grand Prix arena with him. And then I've got a Prix St. George I1 horse owned by the same owner of Don John, who I will also be bringing out in the CDIs this fall for the first time. So I'm busy. I've got lots of fun projects to work with and work on.
I love it. Well, we can't wait to continue to follow you and your career and Don John. And can you tell us how people can get in touch with you and a little bit about your sponsors as well?
Sure. I'm pretty simple. I'm just Nick Wagman Dressage on Facebook. And my personal page is also just my name. I'm also on Instagram under Nick Wagman. And I am proudly sponsored. I just got sponsorship from Kask Helmets, which I'm honored and thrilled to be a part of because I love them. And I'm also sponsored by Custom Saddlery, and they have fit my horses with saddles for years and years and years. And Dressage Sport Boots are as another sponsor of mine. So with my equipment and my tack fitting well, I'm good to go. And I look forward to just the support. I do have to say one thing. I have the outpouring of support via social media from people that I've never met before who have just been following my story. Is really, really touching, because as a dressage rider, it's such a personal and oftentimes a solo endeavor. You're out there by yourself a lot of the time. So just that moral support from everybody meant a lot. So greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Oh, we love it. Well, add to our show too, because we were cheering you guys on, and we're thrilled that you were able to come on our show, and we look forward to having you again with all future success.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
We're the Healthy Critters crew. I'm Tigger.
I'm Patty.
And I'm Coach Jen.
If you're a horse lover, dog lover, cat lover, llama lover, chicken lover, parrot lover, paw and hooves and feathers lover, Healthy Critters is for you. We have fascinating guests, nutrition tips, information on various critters, and the only talking Pomeranian dog on the radio.
Hello, everyone.
Join us for our bi-monthly laughter-filled romps on HRN.
Brought to you by BioStar US.
Well, tonight I am so excited to have these two sisters on. I've actually known them since they were little because I did Young Riders with their mama. So it is so fun to have the Kment sisters. We have Lexi and Kylee on the line, and they are coming from the North American Youth Championship, and they won a junior team gold medal together as sisters. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Well, Lexi, we have had you a couple times on the show, so it is so fun to have you back, and I just love it. So welcome back, and tell us, what was Young Riders like? What a week, huh?
Well, thank you for having me. Yeah, Young Riders and Juniors this year at NYC was just amazing. It was both of our first years doing it together, and it was just super fun to do it as sisters, to have that kind of fun time to ride with each other and to like go through a test together and then go to NYC and be part of a team and to really build those friendships with other people in the horse community, which is so fun for us.
So I have to ask you, what is the age gap here?
So I am 15.
And I'm 17, so I'm 2 years older.
Okay, so there will be a chance for one of you to be a junior and the other one a young rider pretty soon, right?
Yes, pretty soon. Not exactly sure when, but yeah, it might happen.
Would you prefer to compete against each other in the same division, or will it be nice to be separate competitors?
That's a good question. I don't know. Honestly, I have loved competing with and against Lexi because it's kind of that balance with and against. It's been really fun to just be able to talk to each other about what we're going to do in this situation in the test, and just knowing that they understand it so well.
I love it. I mean, that's so true. I also had the honor of riding with my sister, and we're still super close. She still helps me with my horses every week. She's here every week, and to have somebody that I trust. And I mean, that's the first person I call, like when I get off, and she talks to me before she can't come to the show. Like she talks to me as I'm getting ready, and she just knows me so well. So Lexi, I've got to ask, when I competed with my sister, and she laughed because she's just different. I like everything sort of lined up and perfect. Philip, no comments. And my sister is like the opposite. She likes stuff she likes slight chaos. And we used to like have to draw a line down our tack room, and one side was mine and it was perfectly organized. And then the other side was my sister's. Do you guys have any of those weird things together?
Oh my gosh, I'm so trying so hard not to laugh right now. That is so us. Yeah, I am so much like you. I am definitely the tidy, on time one. And Kylie's, I mean, it's great to be laid back, but sometimes I'm like, okay, come on, we really gotta go. Yeah, so we're like the same person in that area.
No, I love it. I love it. So Lexi, we want to hear about both of your guys' horses, but Lexi, tell us about your horse.
So the horse I'm riding, his name is Monty. Well, his full name is Montagny von der Heide, but his barn name is Monty. We are half leasing him from his owner, Lorene Van Norman, and that has just been a great fit. I started riding him last fall after we sold my children's horse, and it's just been great. This Florida season in Wellington is when we really started getting a tight bond together. And it's just been awesome since.
And Kylee, why don't you tell us about your horse?
Oh, okay. So my horse's name is Honor. And the fun thing about him is he was actually bred on our farm by my grandma, Linda Smith. So he's been kind of in the family for his whole life. He's a 9-year-old Dutch warm blood and oh my goodness, he's such a character. I love him to death, but he can be kind of ornery sometimes.
I love that. I had no idea you guys bred him. That is so cool.
Yeah, it's really amazing. It's just special that, like, you know him as he's growing up and you learn all of his quirks.
Yeah. And you guys have been so busy this year, from Florida to NAYC to festival. I saw you guys at festival in person, which was so fun. And Lexi, I've got to ask you about, you won a very fun award, and I know for your mom too, because you won the Amanda Johnson Pursuit of Excellence Award. And Amanda was a friend of your mom's, Philip and I. So that means a lot to us, and I know it meant a lot to her. Can you tell us a little bit about that award?
Yeah, it was super special just to be there and to earn that award and to be just part of that whole experience is really, really special.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, that was special for us to see you won that. That was really cool to kind of close that circle for all of us. And I love it because you guys were just at festival. So Lexi, tell us, how did festival go for you?
Festival went really well. It was a super fun week. I think my favorite part about it, honestly, was leaving NAYC and telling myself that, okay, I just got 2 more weeks until I can see all my horsey friends again. And just being able to catch up with all those people again and just be around horse people. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Kylee, how about you? What was festival like for you?
Oh man, I mean, Festival of Champions is always amazing, just how they put it all on and make it work so well together. It's really neat to be able to see all of the other different divisions, from the Grand Prix to all the young horse classes, just seeing the different horses and riders and how everyone's been doing throughout the year. You know, you finally get to see everyone, which is awesome.
It is awesome. So Kylee, what are you doing with school? I mean, you guys have been so busy, and school started in between this. So how did you do that?
Yeah, very true. So actually, school started in the middle of NAYC. So we missed the first week and the third week of school, which was kind of fun, but homework wasn't. But it all worked out okay. We did all our assignments online and submitted them, and our teachers are super understanding about all this, super supportive of us.
I love it. So what year are you now?
I'm a senior this year.
Yeah, that's tough. So how do you balance sort of riding and horses in school and the whole deal?
Yeah. So right now, I mean, school is the priority just because education is so important. But when I'm not in school or studying, I am at the barn riding. I've been able to ride a couple more horses in the barn this year, just like working them when their owners can't get out to the barn, or just doing stuff like that, which has improved my riding so much just because it teaches me how to ride different horses and how to change my riding and tweak it to better understand the horse under me.
I love it. And Lexi, I'm going to ask you the same question. How do you balance school and horses?
I don't really know, honestly. I think school, yes, it's a big priority, but my favorite part of the day is coming home from school and being able to go down to the barn and see my horse and just be down there with the people and the horses and just have that fun, relaxing time.
I love it. Well, you girls, thank you so much for coming on the show. And we look forward to following your career. And I just love seeing you guys in person. You're just a great family and great kiddos. And I'm just a huge supporter of you guys and can't congratulate you enough for your summer. What a cool thing to do as a family.
Thank you so much.
This Nutrition Minute is brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products, the company that simplifies your search for research-proven nutritional supplements at kppusa.com.
The horse that matters to you matters to Kentucky Performance Products. Researchers have confirmed that as horses age, they naturally become less sensitive to insulin and more susceptible to health problems caused by too much sugar in the diet. One way to reduce the sugar content in a horse's diet is to replace sugar-laden grains with a high-fat supplement. Fat is an extraordinary energy source. It is readily utilized by the horse and contains more than 2 times the calories of sugary grains. Equijewel Stabilized Rice Bran is an excellent fat supplement. It contains a balanced calcium to phosphorus ratio and won't cause mineral imbalances when added to the diet. Its all-natural ingredients are high in healthy fat and fiber. Best of all, EquiJewel allows owners to easily replace the calories previously supplied by sugary grains. When you need to add healthy calories to your horse's diet, choose EquiJewel. To learn more, visit Kentucky Performance Products at kppusa.com.
Well, tonight I am so excited to have a friend of the show, a friend of Philip and I, but also the mom of two incredible junior riders, Jami Kment, on the show. Welcome, Jami.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, because you and I have ridden together for, we won't even talk about how long. And, I've seen your babies grow up, and now you're their coach, not only of the junior team gold medalists, but also Tilly Jones, who is a triple bronze medalist at Young Riders. And we wanted to talk about, what is it like to coach your kiddos?
It's a lot of fun to coach them. Early on, when they were little and starting to ride, I have always had the opinion that I want to be first their mom and second their coach. So they have not had a lot of lessons from me, like my normal clients that ride with me 4 or 5 days a week. I've really made the kids kind of work it out on their own. They watch a lot of lessons, they ask a lot of questions, and then they have to go do it on their own. And then I will give them feedback. So it's been a little different with them, because I never wanted to hurt our relationship as mother-daughters, becoming the trainer that's telling them that they're doing everything wrong and what to be doing better, and kind of becoming that show mom. I've tried really hard not to do that, because our relationship is so much more important in our family than what it is and what they do in the show ring.
So, we just had a conversation with them, and they seem like they're quite different people. Is that hard, to adopt a different style for each one, or do you just help them, give them feedback? No, that's the same. Yeah.
They're both really dedicated riders, and they both take criticism very well. And if they ever are having a teenager-ish moment, they're called on the carpet very quickly. And they will know that their mom will walk out of the ring and quit helping them if that happens. So they know very well to be good students. And over the years, they've always seen me be a student too. So they've learned a lot from watching me have all of my lessons and how to interact with a trainer, even when it's your mom.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's, even with my own mom, I'm like, I got it. I've always been like that. So, I think that's a challenging position, as a mom and a coach. What would be, I guess, I saw some wonderful mamas at festival this last week, and I could tell they were just, this stress was exuding from them. And they're like, how do you do that? So what would be your best advice to parents?
I think the best advice to the parents is to really encourage your children. They are doing the best job they can, even if they're not doing a great job out there. And to also encourage their coaches, and not to try to step in and be the coach unless they have all of that education behind them. Because I see a lot of parents that become like the show mom, that's a sideline trainer, and the kids are looking over for mom's or dad's approval versus knowing what they're supposed to be doing from their trainer, and it distracts the kids a lot. So my advice would be just to be the best cheerleader you can be for your kids out there, especially when they make it to NAYC or Festival of Champions. They're some of the best in the country. And just like in any career you have every day of your life, you're not always going to be the best. And sometimes you get to be fantastic on the day that it matters and you get those accolades. And other times it's supposed to be that day you're supposed to be amazing and you crash and burn. And so just to give them the encouragement that you're proud of them and that you're behind them and you support them no matter what they do, I think that's the most important part.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I know that early on, my mom and I, decided that she could not coach me, or we didn't want to have that kind of relationship. And then, since then she hired a trainer, or, we actually ended up asking a friend to help me ride, and that she really had to take a step back and not be involved, and actually had to, let me crash and burn, and let me make my own mistakes, and try to step back and let me do that. And I think that was a really awesome thing, because we, at the time we were really kind of at each other's throats, or it was ruining our relationship, like you said. So I think this is a great conversation to have, that, even if there's lots of non-horse moms out there, but, between Reese and I and you, we had horse moms who wanted to support and wanted to prevent the mistakes that they could see happening. And I think that might be tough, to just let the mistakes happen and be there as a support, rather than, someone telling your kid what to do all the time.
Yeah, sometimes, and I know because my parents, watch me ride and stuff still too. And sometimes even when you're like a developing rider for the country, you've been to festival, you've won those CDIs, sometimes you still need your mom or dad to tell you that you just look pretty on your horse, no matter what age it is. Sometimes you just need that encouragement.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. My parents were at festival, and yeah, they sat in the tent, they cheered. My dad, and while I looked up, my dad is videoing, like, my dad used to bring that huge video camera to the ring, back in the 80s, that thing weighed more than a house. He'd always video, and I kind of looked up and I saw him doing that. And there's something to be said about, even as a grown-up, having your parents just there and having your back, and all of our parents, fierce critics. I'm not going to say that they're not, but knowing that they're there, and knowing when to be critical and when not to be critical with your child, or even grown child. Sometimes I don't want to hear it. I just, like you said, want to be told I looked great and leave me alone. But I think it's an important discussion, because, in Nebraska, where you guys, you're an FEI trainer, there's not a lot of options out there. And so in some level, you guys have to do that. And I commend you, and you've done such an amazing job with your girls and Tilly Jones and all the girls that you coach. And you may coach young men too, I'm not sure, but I've only seen the girls. But it's really cool to watch. And just for all those moms out there, keep trucking. It's hard. It's ups and downs and all arounds. And I think for all of us, we can share that. So thank you so much for coming on the show. And how can our listeners find you online if they have some more questions about how to be a coach and mom too?
Well, I'm on Facebook, and I'm just under my name, Jami Kment. We also have Providence Farm. Our website is providencefarm.net. Or you can also find Providence Farm on Facebook also.
Fantastic. Well, Jami, thanks so much for your time. And I'm going to cheer your girls on, and you as well.
Thank you, everyone.
Well, Phil, I have really loved my stability stirrup leathers at Festival last week. And I saw a listener, and they were so cute because they came up. I was getting off of, I don't remember, one of the boys. And she came up and she goes, "Oh my gosh, you really use the stability stirrup leathers from Total Saddle Fit." And I laughed, and I said, of course, Phil and I really, we don't endorse any products that we don't love. And I was like, we truly love these products. We love these stirrups. And she just laughed. It was really funny.
Well, I don't know what makes people think that we're dishonest about these things. I mean, Total Saddle Fit has been such a great sponsor of our show, and we got to try out the products. We do that all the time. Before we agree to have a sponsor on the show, we try out the products, we test them out, and we make sure they work, and we make sure that they're durable, and that it would be something that we would buy, because we want to be honest about our recommendations. So, people don't be surprised if you see us riding at a show or a clinic or something like that, and we've got the girths, we got this Total Saddle Fit stability stirrup leathers, and all the products, and we use them every day on all the horses. So
yeah, they're great. So we hope you enjoy them. Check them out at totalsaddlefit.com. We think you'll really enjoy the products.
This week's dressage training tip is brought to you by Total Saddle Fit, home of the shoulder relief girth at TotalSaddleFit.com.
Well, we're very excited that Nick Wagman, the traveling alternate for the U.S. silver medal winning team in Tokyo, stayed on for this evening's Total Saddle Fit tip of the week. Nick, welcome back.
Hi there. Hi there.
Well, you have a great tip for us, so I'm going to let you go with it.
So the theme of the week has been the function of the outside rein and what it means to really have your horse be on the outside rein, but not stuck on the outside rein. And so that's something that I, just by observing all the top riders in Aachen and on my travels, you really see that the horses are supple both ways, even if they have a specific outside rein. And so I've been focusing on that on my own riding and passing that along to my students.
So maybe just you could describe to us what it feels like when the horse is supple on the outside rein and when the horse is stuck on the outside rein. What's the difference there as best as you can describe it?
Sure. I think in its simplest form, if you imagine kind of doing a leg yield away from the long side across the arena, your horse would be bent away from the direction he's moving. But that rein, that outside rein is the rein that he's bending away from. And as the horse progresses, what you want to be able to do is, of course, not only bend him on the outside rein, but also follow on the outside rein without him dropping the contact and ultimately bring his neck to the new direction, which would be the half pass. And so it's that idea of, even though the outside rein is supposed to be the balancing and supporting rein, we all know that, it can also get locked sometimes. And many times the horses just kind of get that rigid set neck and you lose the mobility of the frame. And the really top riders, their horses are just ready to follow the rider's hands left or right, regardless of which direction they're going. And so I think that's just a really advanced but important, skill to learn in your riding.
Well, I love that too, because sometimes I'll hear someone describe the outside rein as a wall. And I think that's a tricky visual, because a wall to me means you can't penetrate it. Right? You can't move through it. It doesn't move. It is what it is. And I think this description is so much better, wouldn't you say? Because it's not an outside rein. It's not a wall. Sorry, it's not a solid thing, correct?
Correct. What I always tell my students is, imagine you have a sponge in your outside rein, in your outside hand, and you want to squeeze the water out of that sponge. And when you squeeze the water out of that sponge on your outside rein, the horse should yield to it, whether you're asking the horse to go sideways away from it or simply to compress in more advanced collection. But like you said, if it's a wall where if someone were to cut the rein off, the horse would just fall down or fall through it, then you're just holding the horse up. We want to teach the horse to stand up and carry himself and be malleable on that outside rein, even though the outside rein is, like we said, the supportive and the balancing dominant rein at all times. But you said it very well. It's got to be a giving rein. It's got to be a malleable, supportive, a supple rein.
Yeah, I think you also just there were talking about another important aspect of the outside rein, and it's a compression rein as well. So if your horse gets his mouth or his neck locked on it, you can't change the frame to bring them towards more of a collected balance, a collected frame, or just a more uphill frame. Then the horse is not supple through his body anymore, and you can't make good transition. At the beginning, you ask the horse to make good transitions on the outside rein, to come back to you from trot to walk, for instance, in a basic way. But if the horse is stuck against it and you guys are just holding against each other, you can't achieve that compression, whether it's at the beginning, of the training, just a little bit, or later where you have to set the horse up for, some of these advanced movements. And I think the one I think of the most is kind of the pirouette, right? You have to drive to the outside rein, but, right before the pirouette starts, the horse has to be compressible to be able to come back and turn at the same time. I think it's really a difficult thing if the horse is not forgiving and giving on that outside rein.
Correct. And we could go on for hours, but you said something that triggered it. You're right. You have to drive with your inside leg to the outside rein, but the balance is not forgetting what the function of the outside leg is as well. And I think that's another aspect of what I'm working on with my students, is saying your inside leg is inevitably going to be on. Try moving the horse more away from the outside leg and supple the outside rein so that you teach the horse not to just lean on with his outside shoulder on the rein as well. So it's that nuance of inside leg to outside rein, but remembering, don't override with your inside leg and don't override with the outside rein to the point where they're locked between the two. You've got to keep all the communication open and alive at all times.
Well, Nick, this is awesome. Truly, we could go on for 2 hours on this conversation. This would be a great bottle of wine conversation by the fire for sure. But thank you so much for coming on. This is a great topic. And how can our listeners find you online if they have any more questions?
I think the best way is to go on to Nick Wagman Dressage, the Facebook page, and shoot me a message there. And I'm pretty darn good at responding to everybody. So that's the best way to do it.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Nick. And we look forward to having you back on in the future.
My pleasure.
Well, Phil, we wanted to remind everyone of our book club of the month, which is Charlotte Desjardins, The Girl with the Dancing Horse. It's great. I read it this summer and highly recommend it. And I read it actually during the Olympics. So it was super fun to be reading and knowing a little bit more about Charlotte's life and then seeing her get the bronze medal on pumpkin. It was awesome. So we highly recommend this book.
Yeah, it's fun to get a little bit of history and behind the scenes and to know where Charlotte is coming from, and and it's entertaining. There's all kinds of funny stories in there, and so I think everybody who enjoys dressage and watches Charlotte at the Olympics would enjoy this book.
Yeah. So again, we love our book club of the month. It's been super popular and we hope everybody enjoys it. And as always, please keep the email and Facebook shout outs coming. Tell us about how your fall shows are going, or maybe not going so well. As you heard, that happens too. Sometimes it just doesn't always go the best way. And sometimes that's the best thing to talk about so you can explain it to other people as well. The United States Dressage Federation is your connection to dressage education, competition, and achievement. Visit www.usdf.org for more information. That's usdf.org, the online destination for dressage. You can find our show notes and links to today's guests on our website, dressageradio.com. Like us on Facebook, just search Dressage Radio Show. Follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio. My website is maplecrestfarmky.com, and my email is reese@horseradionetwork.com.
I think the best way to find me is on Facebook, or my email is philip@horseradionetwork.com. I'd like to thank our sponsors for allowing us to put on a good show. That's Kentucky Performance Products and Total Saddle Fit. And don't forget to check out all the other shows on the Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com.
Everybody, keep your heels down and your shoulders back, and we will talk to you next week.